When crafting a musical, the final number in the show is one of the most important. This is the last chance you have to show your worth to an audience. You can have the best musical of all time. Every single song is a banger. It flows. It's so deep and personal and touching. And then you can have the worst finale ever attached to that and just ruin everything. Because that's the last thing audiences are going away with. If it doesn't work, if it's rough, then I'm sorry. You done did goof. But this does beg the question that we were always going to ask. What is the best finale in musical theatre history? Is there a way that we can find out? Yes, there is. Welcome back to the Versus Bracket. Are you surprised you clicked on this video? You knew it was a Versus Bracket. This is a series where I put songs onto a bracket and then they fight, and we determine the best song in musical theatre history. It's been a while since I've done a Versus Bracket. I'm like raring to go. I've had a little break from Versus Brackets because I had to get a lot of reviews done, but we are back. But if you haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Ellie. I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. It's a hard task, I know, but I do reviews, I do discussions, I do things like this, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. But let's dive into this Versus Bracket. So, the first question is, what do I determine as a finale? Because in a lot of cases, there are some musicals that do technically have two numbers that could be counted as a finale. A lot of people look at something like Jesus Christ Superstar and would say that Superstar works stronger as a finale, but there are songs after that. There's shows like Six that have what should be the finale as Six, but then also have a mega mix afterwards. So what is counted and what isn't? Essentially, my definition of a finale is the final number in the show. I'm not counting barrel music, I'm not counting mega mixes, and if a show does have another number after what could be considered as the finale, I'm not counting it. So, Six's final number is 6, not the mega 6. Jesus Christ Superstar can't count for Superstar, it would count for the song and the orchestration that comes afterwards, because it's lengthy enough and it's got enough substance to it, I feel like that should count. There are some exceptions in this list. Well, there's one, and that is Rose's Turn, because it leads so well into what actually is the finale, which is just kind of like a little sting of music, that I feel like I can kind of lump that in well enough with Rose's Turn to just count that entire sequence as the finale in its own right. Honestly, I feel like mega mixes are such a category in their own right that I could probably do its own Versus Bracket with like Mega 6, Mamma Mia's Mega Mix, Joseph's, Starlight Express. All of these shows have really great mega mixes, so if you want to see a mega mix bracket, let me know and drop some suggestions of what could be on it. But let's dive into this bracket. I have gone to Instagram to select these finales, so if your favorite musical isn't on here, you can blame yourself for not following my Instagram and dropping suggestions in the box. And feel free to follow along in the comments. Tell me who would win each bracket. Follow along. This is why these videos are so fun. So we have everyone's different opinions. First up, we have Louder Than Words from Tick Tick Boom and Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story from Hamilton. Oof, I am so sorry, Tick Tick Boom, because you just went up against one of the best finales ever written. Jesus. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story is so good. It's a number that just sums up Hamilton in a nutshell. It's all these little tributes to Alexander Hamilton from his allies and his rivals, and it ends with that emotional gut punch of Eliza's verse, which honestly, I went to watch Hamilton again recently, and that moment, the moment she steps forward and like she puts herself back into the narrative, oh my god, it's so well crafted, and it ends with one of the most powerful moments in musical theatre, that gasp. I like Louder Than Words as a finale. I like the music. I especially like the power and the belt of it, but you know, I don't think you can beat Hamilton for this one. So yeah, in my personal opinion, this is fairly easy, but only because Hamilton is just so good and gets the finale so right. Build a Prom from The Prom versus Being Alive from Company. How dare you? I like these finales for two different reasons, honestly. I like the scale of Build a Prom. It's a great summation of everything the musical is about. It's this big moment of acceptance and love, and you see all of these characters interacting with each other, and it's so satisfying. I think that's what I really take away from the Prom's finale. It's a satisfying way to end the show. It's everything these characters have been working towards, and there's so many funny moments. There's so much chemistry between all these characters. It's wonderful, and it's so charming. Being Alive is so different. It's so contrasting because it's finally the moment in the show where Robert is, he's come to accept his place, or her place if we're going for the revival of it. It feels like through Company, Bobby's just being kind of worn down, and this is finally like the acceptance. This is you know what, I do want that. I love Company's finale. This is tough, because I think the better number is Being Alive. Being Alive, by far, is the better number. But I don't think that's the only thing that we can credit to this, because we have to talk about the finale of it all. It can't just win by being the better song. It has to also win by being the more satisfying conclusion, which, honestly, I would give that to Prom. I think Prom manages to sum up the entire show so well in its finale and gives all of its amazing messaging in that one number. That's why I think this one is really hard. And I feel like I could go either way, because one wins one category for this and one wins another. So it just kind of has to go for personal preference, which I could go for either on a different day, but I feel like today I'm going to give it to the number that I feel like is a stronger finale, which is Build a Prom. 4 Now from Avenue Q and a glitzy finale from Operation Mincemeat. This is one I put Avenue Q on here because I think Avenue Q has such a wonderful finale. It's really optimistic in a weird way, and I think it really works to sum up what Avenue Q is about. Glitzy finale though. Glitzy finale is camp. You could tell when they went to the West End with Operation Mincemeat, they went, oh, we're gonna end this with a bang. It's everything about it, like the set and how they blew their budget on this one number. It's a glitzy moment, and I do really like it. What's better though? Oh, this is tough, because I really do like Avenue Q, but it is hard to beat a 7-minute extravaganza for the gods. I mean, Mincemeat really ends it on such a high moment as well, with the reflection on the man who never was. And yeah, I feel like in this moment, I'm going to give it to Operation Mincemeat. Why we tell the story from Once on This Island versus Sunday reprise from Sunday in the Park with George. For Once on This Island, it does a great job at bringing it full circle. Obviously, this is a story about storytelling. It's a story about passing things on through generations. But I have to recognize Sunday as well. Sunday builds so well through that finale number. Oh, tough choice. I feel like I like Why We Tell the Story more. And I really like its place in the musical. But is Sunday better? Is Sunday better? I think that for me personally, and this is all personal opinion, and you can disagree, I'm going to give it to Why We Tell the Story. That feels wrong. That feels wrong. Now I'm doing it. No. Children Will Listen, another Stephen Sondheim show, Into the Woods, versus Light from Next to Normal. Oh, okay, so I've seen Next to Normal more recently. That is a great finale number. Oh, listening to that song in person, the belting and like everything, especially after you've just been punched at like a full hour with how drastic and dark Act 2 is, for that number that kind of brings you back. But Children Will Listen. It's such a perfect way to cap off Into the Woods, giving it that strong moral, which perfectly matches the fairy tale story-like things. Story. It's a story. It's a fairy tale story. And it has a moral, like fairy tales do. Yes. I think Children Will Listen will win for me personally, but Light is so good as well. Light at the End of the Tunnel from Starlight Express. A lot of these are about light, apparently. And I See Stars. Stars being lights in the sky, and this song being from Mean Girls. I have made it very clear my opinion on Mean Girls. I don't like it very much, but I will admit that Icy Stars is quite a nice finale. It's nice. It's sweet. It's not one that I dislike. I feel like it's nice is how I would describe it. Funnily enough, that's very similar to how I would describe Light at the End of the Tunnel. Like, does it have much substance? Not really. But then again, Starlight Express doesn't have much substance either, so it kind of matches what Starlight is all about, which is the big flashy, like, woohoo, we're trains and we're skating, don't we look cool? But if you're asking me what I prefer as a number, it's Light at the End of the Tunnel. I feel like that's a lot more, it's a crowd-pleasing number, and I feel like it's a nice way to sum up that show. I do like Icy Stars, but I'm not that much of a fan of the Mean Girls musical. I'd take the film over it any day. Midnight Radio from Hedwig and the Angry Inch versus Seeing You from Groundhog Day. I was surprised how many people recommended Seeing You when I did my call out for this. A lot of people said Groundhog Day for this, and I didn't think that Seeing You was one of the most well-known or well-loved songs from that musical, but I can kind of understand why. It really is such a beautiful moment to see Phil reflect. It's a great way to show how he's changed as a person. I mean, think of that really humble, really soft and caring song versus how he's first shown in the musical. You know, in the first day where it's like very like harsh and he's so rude to everyone, to seeing him really reflect on things and, you know, take solace in another person. I think this is a finale that really works because of the journey that the lead character goes through in the show. Similar to what I feel about Midnight Radio. Hedwig as a character has been constantly pushing Yitzhak aside, and this finale is a moment where eventually Hedwig goes away. Hedwig steps off stage and lets Yitzhak take over. It's a powerful, powerful song. Which is better? Again, this is another one where I could go either way on any day. I think Seeing You works better. No, saying that feels wrong. Should I go with Midnight Radio? Oh my god, this is the problem. I can't make a strong decision. How does anyone do this? How have I done this for so many videos in this format? I think that Midnight Radio. I like Hedwig. Bias? I don't know. Next up, Song of Purple Summer versus Six. Oh, I was really hoping Six would have something easier to go against. Oh, no. I will give Six its flowers right now. I think it's a nice song. I think it's a great moment for them to recapture their stories. I love the little things that they give to each of the queens. Bolin is writing poetry and songs for Shakespeare. Jane Seymour, the one who is very family orientated, has a whole like family led band. It's a great way to give like a modern twist onto their stories. It's really fun. I think it does then get overshadowed by the Mega Six, but you know, we're not counting that, as I said before. But Song of Purple Summer, oh my god, the power of that song in Spring Awakening is incredible. Showing all those themes of communication and just, I don't know. It's a really touching moment in the show that I feel like is the stronger finale. All right, we're going to the other side of the bracket now, starting with opening up finale from Waitress and Les Mis' finale. Waitress has a nice finale. It's a reprise of the opening number. It's nice, it's cute, it does what it needs to do, it's okay. Whereas Les Mis' finale, because of how long this finale is, you get like the death of Jean Valjean leading into that reprise of Do You Hear the People Sing, with all of the people who have passed away from this musical, that anthem that carries through the show. Oh, it's so powerful. I feel like there's not much argument here. Les Mis is a stronger finale by far, and probably the stronger song. Both of these ironically being reprises, but the reprise that works a lot better to end the show is definitely Les Mis' one. Oh, how dare you? How very dare you? We have Rose's turn versus the finale sequence of Chicago. Funny enough, this is one where I'm counting the more iconic song going into the finale bit, because both of these have like quite short, condensed finales that I feel like it's easy to put these all together. So this goes nowadays, Hot Honey Rag, that dance sequence that they do with Velma and Roxy, and then going into the reprise of All That Jazz. Both of these are ones that I feel like could be in the finale. I'm going to say that before I pick between the two of them. These are both that could be a finale choice. These are two of the most iconic finale songs in musical theatre history. Rose's Turn is one of my favourite Stephen Sondheim songs ever written. The journey it takes you on is unbelievable. It's incredible. It's iconic, and it's iconic for a reason. As we finally see Rose just crack, essentially, her worldview really coming into focus in this number, but then also nowadays in Hot Honey Rag is also just as iconic. I think one of my favorite moments in this finale is the speech they give before the end. You're like, this is why America is so great. The fact that we can kill our husbands and get away with it. Goodbye, everyone. I love the satire of it. It's so good. But if you're asking me right now to pick between the two, I think Rose's Turn. I think Rose's Turn is one of the best finales ever written. Again, we've got two songs here that I feel like could be finale material up against each other in the first round. And that is One Singular Sensation from a chorus line versus Let the Sunshine In from Hair. Now, I like Hair. I'm less familiar with Hair as a musical than I am for a chorus line, but it is very telling how much of the music you will know of Hair, even if you haven't listened to any of it. And I feel like Let the Sunshine In is one of the best music theatre songs ever. But then there's One. One Singular Sensation is the absolute scale of a musical theatre finale. This is the glitz and the glam that you have come to expect. The kick line is so embedded into musical theatre history. It's such a perfect way to cap off this musical. It's so flashy, big, glamorous. It is musical theatre. What is better though? That is so hard. How dare you? Again, both of these could be finales, but either of these could win the entire bracket. That is how tough this decision is. But right here, right now, I think the fact that I know Let the Sunshine In so well, despite not knowing like much about Hair itself, shows the power of that finale number. But One is so good as well. When we're talking about summing up the themes of a musical though, if we're talking about a finale that suits the musical better, I feel like personally I'd go with Let the Sunshine In. Don't Feed the Plants, the finale for Little Shop of Horrors, versus the finale from Little Big Things. This is a really fitting pairing. I like the finale to Little Big Things, but I wouldn't say it's the strongest material in the show, you know? Some of these are like the best thing that the show has delivered. Hair's finale is one of the best songs in the show. Rose's Turn is the best song in the show. Song of Purple Summer is one of the best songs in the show, but I wouldn't necessarily say Little Big Things, the title number of that show, is one of the strongest pieces of material, but I think it does sum up quite nicely what that show is about. Versus Don't Feed the Plants. I really like Don't Feed the Plants. It's a warning. It fits the B-movie style of Little Shop of Horrors. I don't know. I like it a lot. And even though they cut it from the film, I feel like they shouldn't have, because that whole finale sequence that they made and then cut is so impressive. If you haven't seen, like, I think they, like, extend it so it's, like, 7, 9, 11, I don't know how long it is, but it's long, of just Audrey 2's destroying the entire world. It is camp. I feel like in this instance, I would give it to Don't Feed the Plants. Next up, the finale to Come From Away, Welcome to the Rock Reprise, versus Just Be and Raise You Up from Kinky Boots. I like Welcome to the Rock finale. It's a lot of moments. It feels very, you know, like films from like the 90s. You know, Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde, the film does this. They play Where Are They Now, right? But I think it's very fitting for what Come From Where He is. You know, the 10 years later sequence giving you the little glimpses of where they are, well, now 10 years ago. And giving nice, satisfying endings to all of these people's character arcs for the show. It's that line, I think, sums it up so perfectly of what this finale does, is we commemorate what we lost, but we also celebrate what we found. But that's up against Just Be, which I love as a finale. I think it's such a joyous moment in Kinky Boots. This anthem of acceptance and love. And I feel like as a finale, it's more catchy. I think it ends the show really, really well. But which of these works better to sum up the whole show? Stop giving me hard decisions in round one. I feel like on this day, personally where I am, I would give it to Kinky Boots. I think both really work well as a finale, but I think Kinky Boots just takes it by the slimmest of slim margins for me personally. Next up, Jump in the Line from Beetlejuice and Road to Hell 2 from Hadestown. Jump in the Line is a nice way to finish Beetlejuice. You know, you're taking the song from the film, and then they also do a great job of adding to it as well. I'm quite glad they didn't just do Jump in the Line, because I don't know, I don't even think it would have made this list if it was just Jump in the Line. It's the way that they take Jump in the Line, they do a bit of it, and then lead it into a reprise of Dead Mum, giving Lydia, who has in this version of the story become more of the lead, and giving her a moment of reflection. I quite liked that. It shows the new family dynamic, you know, the acceptance of Barbara and Adam into that dynamic, and yeah, I like it. I like it as a finale. Road to Hell 2, though, oh my god. Ow! For starters, ow. I think this number works so well because of how it incorporates so perfectly the moral of Hadestown. Why stories are important, why we tell them again and again and again, despite knowing how it ends. I think it's impactful, I think it's powerful, and I think out of these two, it is the better finale. Next up, ow. If we thought that Hadestown was sad, we have the absolutely brutal ending to Cabaret in Cabaret's finale versus Find My Way from Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde has the Jesus Christ Superstar problem, where the better number towards the end of the show is the song that comes before this. The Legally Blonde Mega Mix, which is the second to last number in Legally Blonde, is just incredible. It is extravaganza for the gods. It's one of my favorite musical theater songs of all time. The way it unfolds, it's brilliant. It's so camp. And if I do a mega mix video, you know that's getting far. And then Find My Way, which I think works nicely as a summation of the show. You know, you get Elle finally letting Lorna down and realizing that she's got to find her own way. This whole journey has been about Warner. But in that process, she's found herself and she's found what she's good at, and she's great at being a lawyer. And then leading into the more cheery, upbeat reprise of Oh My God, You Guys, which works. But, you know, I think it does pale in comparison and scale to the Megamix that comes before it. Whereas Cabaret's finale, it's the orchestrations here. Right? I feel like the orchestrations is what sells this finale. You have the MC introducing them, and then slowly, as you hear the music that you heard in Vilcom, it slowly becomes slower, it becomes distorted, really hammering in those themes that Cabaret bakes in of that slow approach, the encroaching danger in the background. Oh, it is brutal. And it is an incredible finale that I feel like wins this bracket. And finally, we have Flying Away from Fun Home versus another one of the best musical theatre songs of all time, You Can't Stop the Beat from Hairspray. How can you beat You Can't Stop the Beat? You can't beat the beat because the beat is so beating. It is flashy. It is the definition of flashy, as it builds and builds and builds. And you get to see the power of them taking over this show and this station. I like Flying Away. Flying Away from Fun Home. Fun Home is one of my favorite musicals, right? I adore Fun Home. And I really like Flying Away as a finale, but it is up against one of the hardest challenges it could go against. One of the most joyous finales and one of the most iconic finales in music theatre history. I feel like this one goes to Hairspray. And there you go. That is the first part of this bracket. We can move on to the next rounds. As always, we will rush through these a little bit quicker, and we will find our winner. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story versus Build a Prom. Hamilton wins this. I like Build a Prom for all the reasons I said. I feel like it's a great summation of the show, but Who Lives, Who Dies, and Tell Your Story just has the impact. Honestly, if I was just speaking about the Eliza verse, I still think that would win. Glitzy Finale versus Why We Tell the Story. I like Mincemeat. And Mincemeat fans, I love Mincemeat. I got past the first round, but I feel like Why We Tell the Story is probably stronger here. I feel like it's a great finale number. Children Will Listen, Light at the End of the Tunnel. Light at the End of the Tunnel is fun, but Children Will Listen sums up the show a bit better for Into the Woods, so let's go with Children Will Listen. Midnight Radio, Song of Purple Summer. Song of Purple Summer, I feel like is the stronger material. Other side, Les Mis' finale versus Rose's Turn. Rose's Turn. I love you, Les Mis. You have a fantastic finale, but you were up against one of the best music theatre songs of all time. I'm so sorry. I can't help you there. Let the Sun Shine In versus Don't Feed the Plants. Ooh, let's say Let the Sun Shine In. I like Don't Feed the Plants. I feel like it's a great ending to that show. And honestly, you're asking me which one I prefer? I'd probably say Don't Feed the Plants, but I feel like Let the Sun Shine In works better as a finale. Just Be versus Road to Hell. Oh, I gave it leniency last time against one of my favourite musicals. I feel like I can't do it again. Road to Hell wins this one. Cabaret's finale versus You Can't Stop the Beat. Two very, very different finales. Oh, God. I feel like these both work so perfectly as finales to their own shows, but they are so different in every single aspect of the word. I feel like the only reason I may say You Can't Stop the Beat over Cabaret is that I feel like Cabaret's finale, its impact depends a lot on its staging as well. Whereas like you can just play You Can't Stop the Beat and it's a great cheery finale to the show. Whereas I feel like Cabaret's is more about the staging of that moment and how you portray that. And again, I feel like I could go either way. I feel like I could go either way. These are so good. It feels more right to say You Can't Stop the Beat. And sometimes you just kind of have to go with your gut, and what your gut is telling you is the more right decision. Even if it still feels wrong, I'm going to say You Can't Stop the Beat here. I don't know. I'm going to regret that because, as I said, the finale of Cabaret is the one I prefer. But, I feel like You Can't Stop the Beat is just so iconic that I can't. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story versus Why We Tell the Story. Two story numbers coming together to battle it out against each other. And in this case, I stand by what I said before, and I think I'm sticking with Hamilton in this round. Next up, Children Will Listen versus Song of Purple Summer. This is rude. This is rude. I can't do this. How can you make me do this? I'm going to give it to Song of Purple Summer. But I have to make a snap decision because otherwise I will sit here for 5 hours like I did with You Can't Stop the Beat versus Cabaret. And so I'm going with what my gut is telling me, and that is Song of Purple Summer. Rose's Turn versus Let the Sun Shine In. Rose's Turn. Rose's Turn. Rose's Turn. You cannot beat the extravagance of that, even though Let the Sun Shine In is a fierce competitor. But Rose's Turn. Oh, God. Powerful. Road to Hell 2 versus You Can't Stop the Beat.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
I just think Hairspray's finale is that good that I kind of have to let it go to next round. Hairspray wins this one. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are. All right, we have our semi-final. Let's go. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story versus Song of Purple Summer. I think that Hamilton's finale in this case carries so much power, so much weight. I feel like it has to go to Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story going into the finale for this side. And You Can't Stop the Beat versus Rose's Turn. While I have given Hairspray so much leniency, I don't think in this round it is going to beat my favourite here, which is Rose's Turn. Again, I feel like the fact that Hairspray has beaten so many of my favorite musicals just kind of shows how good it is at summating the show. But for me personally, I feel like Rose's Turn is just so extravagant and big and powerful and sums up Rose's character so well that I have to give it to Rose's Turn. And so we are at our finale matchup. Oh, this one was hard. This one is tough, especially because I don't think I had any filler songs on this list. Normally, I will chuck in a couple of easy choices. This time, I only really felt like I had Icy Stars in there as a finale that I don't love. So I'm very interested to see how you guys go. I feel like I'm going to have very different brackets from you guys in the comments. So feel free to share who would have won. My favorite comments on these videos every single time are the people who break down and do the full brackets. They're always so interesting, and I love to hear your opinions on these. It's just proof that theatre is so subjective, so wonderfully subjective. Now we come to my finale matchup. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story from Hamilton versus Rose's Turn. Let me know in the comments who would win out of these two for you. This is the hardest decision. This one is so tough. Rose's Turn has obliterated this bracket. It has had the easiest sweep getting to here, but now it faces its real challenger. Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story. I feel like that is probably one of the best numbers in Hamilton. Just from a storytelling perspective, from all of that, I feel like it is one of the best. But can it beat Rose's Turn in my mind? You know what? I don't think it does on this occasion. Sitting here in this chair right now, I may change my mind at a future point, but right now my winner of this bracket is Rose's Turn. But who is your winner? Is it a song that I didn't even have on this list? Trust me, I can only do 32 on these brackets. There are so many finales that I don't have. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps out the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now and a link to my Instagram if you want to drop me a follow over there. I also have other social links, a link to a merch store, a link to channel memberships and all of that in the description down below if you are interested. But that is it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.